Wait, what was I using?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Deborah Jones with Blue Table Talk. I'm your host, and tonight we have a storyteller. So before we go into that, let me do a little housekeeping, and that's of course as always we'll talk about COVID-19 and the testing part of it. Medi Express at 3565 College Street, Beaumont, Texas. AFC Urgent Care, 3195 Dowling Road. Tan Healthcare, 1495 North 7th Street. Legacy Healthcare at 450 North 11th Street and 3455 Stag Drive. Pediatric. Beaumont Emergency Care at 4004 College Street. Exceptional Emergency Care at 4755 East Texas Freeway. We have exceptional emergency care again at 3330 Highway 365 in Port Arthur. Exceptional emergency care at 1321 North 16th Street in Orange, Texas. CVS Pharmacy at 2950 Dowling Road and 6850 East Texas Freeway, Beaumont, but you must pre-register and go online and do that. Christus Promptu Care at 4046 Dowling Road, Beaumont. People's Urgent Care at 3255 North Major Drive, Beaumont. And the last one is MD Kids Pediatrics. Appointments not required but suggested. 490 IH 10 North Frontage Road, Suite 100, Beaumont, Texas. Call the phone number is 409-212-9988. They're open Monday through Fridays from 8 to 6 and on Saturdays from 10 to 12. Everybody, please, let's get COVID testing and make sure that if you do have COVID, to quarantine yourself at least for 14 days. Okay, so with that being said, now you know it is now almost time to vote. We have 6 days before early voting. Early voting is October 13th to the 30th. 6 days before. We're not counting this day. 6 days before early voting, 27 days before November 3rd, before the actual voting. Let's get out there and vote. And I hope that you are already registered to vote because yesterday was the last day to register to vote. Now you can mail in. You can still mail in up until November 3rd. Let it be stamped on that November 3rd. Please don't wait till the last minute. Please don't wait till the last minute. Go out there, exercise your rights, and let's vote. Okay? All right, so let's keep in prayer. President Donald Trump, he's still walking around with coronavirus. Let's keep him in prayer also. God is still in control, and we know that. So whatever happens, he needs to know that he needs to take care of himself and stay away from other people so that he won't infect others. Okay, so let's see. Next week we will have signs up. We will be talking about the candidates for election. Now, when you go into the polls to vote, remember there is no more straight ballot. There's no more straight Democrat. There's no more straight Republican. You have to get your sample ballot to see who's on there. And if you go to the Democratic headquarters office at 2211 Calder Avenue, they have paper. They have the sample ballot in there where you can look on it. It's already highlighted, and they can tell you exactly who's on there that's voting, that's running in the Democratic. So we have Joe Biden President, M.J. Hager, U.S. Senate, Adrian Bell, U.S. House of Representatives, Krista Casadena, Railroad Commissioner, J. Siller Bird, Texas Senate District, Joe Desatel, Texas House of Representatives, District 22. We have Zena Stevens, Sheriff. She's been running for re-election and re-election again for Javon Pollard, Constable Precinct 1. So, and also we have a write-in. Her name is Mary. So on the side where they said write in, is over here by the commissioner part, and they'll say write in. You'll write in Mary's name, Mari, if you want to vote for her. Remember, go out, exercise your right. Too many people have died so that we can have the right to vote. Okay? All right. So tonight, everyone, we're talking to Gina McCauley. Hey, Gina. So I'm going to do a little short bio on Gina. And so, it's really a little lengthy, but that's okay because it's so good. It is so good. I think I read it about 5 times. So I can say, what? Okay, so in the 5th grade, Gina McCauley organized a boycott of her elementary school cafeteria. She has never accepted the status quo. Her boldness, creativity, and love of storytelling collide with the digital innovation of in 2007 when she launched her blog. What about our daughters? 6 months later, she was named to Essence magazine list of the 25 most influential of 2007. That same year, she founded the blogging Conference, Wild Brown Conference, to create a platform for diverse creators. While she became a cyber crusading warrior, princess, and producer, her first love was always writing and truth telling. Many things changed during her decade of blogging, including the addition of 5 nieces and 4 nephews. A total of 9 amazing human beings call her Auntie Gina. In December 2019, she launched Auntie Gina, a publishing company committed to capturing the hearts, mind, and imagination of Black children and the adults who love them. Auntie Gina franchise is built on well-crafted stories, exquisite visuals, and world-class sounds. Her books, animation, film, audio drama, merchandise, and experiences are a delightful escapism where Black characters are center stage. In her first book, A Light in You, carries an empowering message for a young Black girl on a journey of self-discovery and learn the power of knowing her value despite her circumstances. In her awards, in 2007, Essence magazine named Miss Macaulay one of the 25 most influential African American. Right after that, then Senator Barack Obama. That same year, she won the Black Weblog Awards Judges Award for Blog of the Year. In 2009, she in 2009, she was with Sonia Sanchez, keynote speaker at the Kentucky Women's Writers Conference. In 2010, she was selected to the Roots 100, the Roots list of emergency of established leaders in the African American community. In 2011, she was selected as digital doye in the Digital Moving Images Salon of Spelman College and the Women in Film and Television, Atlanta. In April 2013, Gina appeared on the cover of Black Enterprise Annual Technology Issue. Yay! Her writing credits is her blog posts have been cited frequently in mainstream media, including on CNN, Entertainment Tonight, and the CBS Music Show, a morning show, I'm sorry, CBS Morning Show, PBS, NDTV, NPR, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, RTE Radio 1 in Ireland, and XM Radio. Also, she has written for The Guardian, The Observer, BlackVoices.com, Essence.com, and Essence Magazine. Tonight, we introduce to you and present to others Miss Gina Macaulay. Hey, Gina. That was so interesting. That was so interesting, Gina. How did you do all that in your lifetime? So, let's start from the beginning. So, why did you start all the blogging, and then you went and had named it "What About Our Daughters"? What about our daughter?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all do this, but in 2007, Don Iman was a radio show host, and he referred to the Rutgers women's basketball team as I won't say what he said, but he called them a name, and it was a big to do. And there was an Oprah Winfrey show back then that I was watching in the afternoon, and she had like folks from the music industry, and these were Black folks that she had, and they had said similar things about Black women. And at that point in my life, I was like, man, if this is the way we treat and talk about Black women, what's going to happen to our daughters? I was like, what's going to happen in 20 years? You know, this was back in 2007. And so that's where What About Our Daughters came from. I didn't have kids. I don't have kids. I have no intention of having any. But it was just like, what's going to happen to future generations? So that's how I got started. And I've always been outspoken. And I didn't think I'd be doing it. I think I thought I'd put up a few posts and maybe stop after a month, and it went on for over a decade. So you're muted. Can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I used to follow you on your blog, but I never would write anything. I just would read everything that you wrote, and stuff like that. So I was like, oh my God, I was, we so excited because ladies and gentlemen, Gina is from Beaumont, Texas. In case y'all didn't know, she's from Beaumont, and that made us feel good because we have a native Beaumonter, and she's doing all this. So yeah, so do you still hold a conference, blogging while brown?
I do not. I had a conference in 2016. I think my last conference was in Washington D.C. And I just that somewhere I think I turned 40 in like 2015, and so it was kind of one of those what do you want to do with the rest of your life kind of things. And I got a new position. I got promoted, so I had a lot more responsibility. So I didn't have as much free time. And I also felt like I didn't understand where social media and blogging were going to go. So the conference was about teaching people how to grow their blogs and expand their influence. And it started out as like a social justice thing, and then it turned more into everybody was like, how can I make more money? How can I make more money? I was like, well, I'm not passionate about you making more money in particular. There's lots of people who can tell you how to do that and do that better. I was always a social justice blogger, and so I just kind of didn't know where I was fitting in. I was going through a life change, and it was really okay to not do it. And then once I didn't do it one year, I was like, it's really okay not to do it again. So that's what happened with the conference. I think it ran its course, and that community is still alive, and we'll probably get together because of this whole COVID thing. We'll probably get together because I think I always took for granted that I would see them again. Like all the people who used to come every year, I always took it for granted. Oh, I'll see them here, I'll see them there. And so I definitely want to have a reunion and get all of those folks, because there were people who came every year, get those folks back together again. And I can see, I like events. I love events. This was born and raised in the church. Events are a big deal. Mission Day annual, Pastors annual, all these annual days. So getting together with people, I like that, and it kind of runs in my blood. But I think I would probably get them together around something different, or just have a reunion. So
you just you said there are still doing the conferences and stuff like that.
They're not with them on Facebook and stuff. And I go to other people's conferences, and I see a lot of the people from my conference. So I'm like, I can see you and not have to organize it. So I'm going to do that. But yeah, so we're not, but we'll probably have a reunion. In the future. I was going to do one like this year. Would have been a good year to do one. And then this whole COVID thing happened.
Okay, so we talk about blogging and everything. So the reason why I brought you on here, let's talk about the reason I brought you on here. And it's about your book. Yeah. Not a book, two books. Yeah, two books. You have a boy and a girl, a light in you, boy and a girl. So why did you name the book Auntie Gina? Auntie Gina.
The company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the book is a rhyme, like it's a poem. If you get the book, it rhymes. And I wrote it in honor of my niece. Actually, I was helping my sister travel from North Carolina back to Beaumont, and I rode with them, and she was in the car. And I've always written poetry and things like that. And literally, a sunbeam landed on her, like a little ray of sunlight landed on her, and she was back in her car seat, just jabbering away, and she just was so carefree and just didn't have a care in the world. She was a baby. She wasn't even maybe she was 6 months at that point, maybe that old. And I was like, man, I hope she holds on to that. I was like, I hope that she never loses that joy, that kind of just like being alive, and I'm going to sing my own song. And then I immediately thought about, the world's going to start to tell her that she has to be this, and she has to do that, she has to look this way and do this and all this other stuff. And I was like, man, I hope she never loses that light. And I wrote that poem back when she was a baby, and I think she's like in second grade now. So it kind of sat on my phone for 7 years, just sat on the phone. And I was going to start another business, a workplace compliance business, because I'm an attorney. That's what my full-time job is. And I started working with a business coach on launching that. And she, they always ask you, what's your why? What's your big why? Why do you want to launch a business? And I was like, well, I want to, make a bunch of money so that I can launch Walt Disney for Black girls. I want to, create, images. Because to say we're such a huge part of the population, there aren't nearly enough images of little Black kids that we can like just if it's their birthday and I go to the drugstore to buy a birthday card, I get to choose from Dora the Explorer, Doc McStuffins, and maybe Princess Tiana. That's it. There's not like I can't. There's not like a print. There's not 5 princesses or characters for me to pick from. So I said I was going to launch this other company, and my business coach was like, "You need to do the children's Disney for Black girls thing first." And so that's what I worked on last year. So I started a little before this time last year, and I decided to call it Auntie Gina because that's what they call me. So my oldest nephew, Cullen, my sister Shalon's oldest, he calls me Auntie. So that's kind of where I came up with it, and I stuck with it, and I think it's funny, and they think the books are all about them, so it works.
So are you both the author and the publisher in your book?
I am. So I self-publish these. So I actually did it backwards. I actually printed my own books too. The girl book, I actually arranged to have them printed overseas and shipped. So I did everything from beginning to end. I didn't illustrate it. I hired an illustrator. But I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to do everything. So I did end up doing everything. It was a great learning experience to learn how to put everything together. But I self-published, printed my own copies of the girl version. I printed these overseas, and this one is shrink wrapped. That's why it's shiny. The boy version, however, I'm doing print on demand. So basically there's a company, and when you go on Amazon and you order it, they print it and put it in the mail. And, people are getting books around the world, and I don't have to do anything. They just go to Amazon and order it, and it gets put in the mail, and I get a report that it got shipped. So I'm happy. But yeah, I did it myself. Most Black children's book authors, you are going to end up doing it yourself. Because if you wait on a major publishing house, you could wait 2 to 3 years. And for whatever reason, I knew last year, and I didn't know all this stuff was going to happen, but for whatever reason, I said, I need to finish this this year, 2019. It needs to be done. And so, yeah, I printed this one myself. So the little girl one from beginning to end, I worked on that one. And then the little boy one, I got better at it, and I have it doing print on demand.
Okay, so how would you be able to put your books into a school and let them be like an accelerator reader book, and get points as they read it and everything? How would you be able to do that?
It depends on how the school district purchases its books, but the girl book, no, because it's not listed with the distribution company. But the boy version, because it's listed there's a company called Ingram Spark, and they distribute to libraries, bookstores, everything. So they should be able to find the boy version of the book. And then, of course, if you want to buy a classroom set directly from me, I'll give you an incredible discount. So if you go to auntiegina.com and select book bundle, you can buy bundles of 10 or 20. But yeah. And then I do author visits, or I was scheduled to do them. I did do a couple of school events before COVID hit. I was a speaker at a Black History program here in town, and did a Black History Kids Month down at the Carver Library, which is here in Austin.
Right. So have you done any book signings on your books or anything?
Oh yeah, I'm so blessed that I got to get in about 4 book signings before the pandemic hit. So I did big book signings at the Carver Library. I did book signings at a local middle school. I went back to Beaumont for the Ministers, Deacons, and Trustees Wives program and fellowship, and was able to sign books there. And that was that was a week before the state shut down. And then I had an entire book tour to do book signings set up for this fall. But yeah, I feel so blessed that I was able to get the books got here in January, and I was able to in like February and very first week of March get in some signings. I'm so glad I didn't wait, because it was so fun to watch people interact with my book and watch little kids walk up to the table. So that was fun. I'm so glad I got that experience.
So what's the age level on your book?
The age level I would probably say is the little girl looks like she's about 8 to 10 years old. But what I'm finding is toddlers, people who have toddlers really like it because it rhymes. And the refrain in it is, there's a light in you. And so I keep hearing from people who say that little kids are saying there's a light in me, like my mom was telling me one of her church members, I think she gave the book to her grandson, and normally he walks down the steps and he has to turn on the light. And he walked down the steps one day and he didn't. And his mom asked about it. He said, well, there's a light in me, so I don't need to turn on the light. I was like, whoa. But so I think I aimed it for people who are 8 to 10, but toddlers and kids who are younger because it rhymes. I think they like it a little bit more, but yeah.
Right. So how does writing, I know you said that you were a lawyer also.
Mm-hmm.
So does writing energize you or does it exhaust you? How does all that work? Because you are already busy. You already have your plans. So here I am now. I'm going home. I'm starting writing. Or do you start writing at work? Or how does this happen?
That is a really great question. When I write at work, I'm usually exhausted by the time it's over because I'm like writing briefs and formal stuff. But when I remember when I was a blogger, putting words on a page is almost like music to me. And in fact, if I'm like really in the zone, especially I remember from my blogging days where I was really passionate about something and I was making a point, I literally would write in a rhythm and would hear music and would feel exhilarated by the time I hit publish. Children's writing for children, like I'm in the process of working on a manuscript now for my third book. I like tense up and I like don't want to do it. And then once I finally finish whatever the draft is, I do feel energized, but it's a little bit less intuitive than blogging. So writing because you feel it, you know this is going to sit on somebody's shelf and some little kid is going to read it, and you hope that it does what you intended it to do. So that's the one thing that's, I think, yeah, it depends on what I'm writing, but when I'm finished, I usually feel better.
So tell me a little bit more about your writing experiences. I mean, you just didn't jump up and say, "Pow, I'm gonna write a children's book." It had to come to you through a dream or some. How did all this happen?
Mm. I think that naturally a writer. So I think some people naturally express themselves in words. I can remember when I was little, the church. I mean, everything usually with Black creative people tends to go back to the Black church. But when we were growing up, we used to have to write little speeches and we used to have to perform those. When I was in middle school, I went to Austin Middle School. I had a theater arts teacher, Jo Ethel Terry, give her a shout out. We used to write our own pieces that we performed in competition. But when I was growing up, I didn't view writing as a livelihood or a vocation. I just viewed it as, something nice that you might do. I definitely didn't view it as something I would launch a business with. I was taught, and I think a lot of creative Black folks get taught this. You go become a lawyer, teacher, engineer, a doctor, that kind of thing. No one says grow up and write for a living, but you end up as a lawyer. We write a lot. That's just what we do. So that's kind of how I got into writing. And I had in retrospect, I had a really great education in BISD. I had some really great English teachers. I still remember.
Are they awesome?
Yeah.
Shout out to BISD.
Yeah, shout out to BISD. I didn't know it, but now that I graduated and have gone to some other places. So funny. My 11th grade writing teacher, her name was Rebecca Gonzalez. Miss Gonzalez. I'm sure she's retired by now. But she used to have this sentence structure exercise that everybody went through. Like my sisters who were like 6 years older than me, they had her and they had to do something. And to this day, the rules that I learned in 11th grade English class, I still use them today. And just like we were so lucky, we had some really great English teachers to give us good foundation.
What about your family? Does your family support you in your writing?
Oh yeah. They definitely support my writing. My mom, listen, my mama got like we've been hawking these books, and my sisters are always my first customers. And then my sisters posted on Facebook. I know one. I know one of them. I wasn't paying attention to sales, but she posted it on all her social organizations and stuff like that. So my family, whatever little madcap plan I come up with of that year, my family's supportive of it. They were supportive of the blogging, even when they don't necessarily understand it. They've been supportive of it.
I'm trying to unmute myself and I'll hit something else. Okay, so what would you tell young writers? What would you tell young writers about how could they go into the part of writing, even whether young or old or whatever they want to write? How would you explain that to them?
The first thing,
or just being an entrepreneur themselves.
Oh, so I would write even if I didn't get paid. But if you're trying to write to earn a living, I would say start writing as soon as you think you want to be a writer. You are a writer. If you're writing, you're a writer. And look for freelance opportunities. I've written for Essence Magazine. I've written for Essence.com. I was getting paid by the word to write, but I would say look for those opportunities to be a freelance writer. Put your work out there. Amazon makes it so easy for you to self-publish. It doesn't cost you any money up front. Put your work out there, build an audience, write for niches. And the great thing now about the internet is that if you get a fan base, your fan base will support you. You can, of course, go the traditional route. You can go get an agent. That agent can shop your book, your manuscript to a traditional publishing company, but you have a greater chance of getting struck by lightning than getting a publishing deal. There are now people who are making 6 and 7 figures a year who are self-published on their own. So I belong to a group on Facebook called I think it's 20 books to 50K. And their philosophy is if you write 20 books, you can make 50K minimum a year. So there's different strategies to it. You could take the freelancing way where you write for other people, or you can take the self-publishing way where you write and you publish it, and people who like your work just pay for it.
So they just need to go on the internet to look for their publishing company or their agent or whatever. So how did that come about?
Yeah, if you were
how can you trust them?
Routes. What I would recommend, if you're serious about it, is I would recommend you join a writing organization like the Texas Writers. I think it's Texas Writers Association, or Writers League of Texas. Writers League of Texas. I'm a member of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, SCBWI. And if you go to writing conferences, and in fact, there's conferences in Houston. There's a big SCBWI conference in Houston if you're interested in that. But if you go to writing conferences, the agents will show up at those conferences. So you get times during the conference where you can go pitch to an agent. You can also, agents publish when they are interested in accepting submissions. So agents will publish that, and you can find them online. So you can Google it online, but I would say probably one of the best ways is to actually go to writing conferences. If you're a young person, there is a Texas Teen Writers Conference that's specifically for books for teens, but also teens who write books. So I would encourage that. And I take classes at Austin Community College. So I take creative writing classes. So even if you never stop learning, you can take a creative writing class as well.
So you're still taking classes in writing?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So do you plan on publishing any other books besides what you have right now?
Yes, right now I'm working on my third. It's called Goodbye Paris. It's about a little girl's first trip to Paris, for everybody who's taken that famous Eiffel Tower picture. And then I have some books about the outdoors and travel to places like that. So, and then for next year, I want to move into more young adult. So I've been working on a novel based on, growing up in Southeast Texas. So that's going to be
that should be a hit right there.
yeah.
Growing up in Southeast Texas.
Yeah.
That's
Like
gonna be a
I'm
hit.
halfway done, and it features a hurricane. So it's like we know about that.
I don't think you were around when we had all these big hurricanes. You were maybe the small one. We were still at home, and then we slept through the night with it. But now that they're coming, like
Yeah,
destroying
the last
everything.
one I think I remember was Andrew, and it didn't actually hit. It was the first time we'd ever evacuated for one, and that was my sister was in Baylor, so I would have been in high school when that happened. And no, I was down in Corpus when Ike hit. And then I think I had moved back to Austin for Rita. But yeah, this whole and then getting cut, having Interstate 10 get cut off in both directions. Yeah, we didn't do that. That did not happen. When I was like, what is this? That never happened. I was like, I don't ever remember in life Interstate 10 being cut off. So I was trying to get a light. So I was like, what in the world? Trying to figure out what was gonna happen with my mom and daddy. But yeah, I don't know what's happening, but we used to ride them out. We didn't leave. We used to ride them out. You knew you was not gonna have electricity for a couple of days. But these mega storms where they got to cut the water off, no, that's new.
So okay. So if we wanted a autograph book by you, do you autograph it before you send it out, or because I know we get it from Amazon, it's not gonna be autographed.
No,
Right?
it's not. No, it's not. You can order the girl book directly from Amazon. Excuse me, if you order the girl book from me, Auntie Gina, on auntiegina.com, there's an option for you to get an autograph. So you can just buy an autograph book. If you want the boy book autographed, I currently am planning to order my own copies so that I have those, and then I'll put those up on the website. So if you want an autograph version, go to www.auntiegina.com, and then you can also send me an email, and I'll make it happen. So you can send me an email. It's I think it's hello@auntiegina.com, or contact me on Facebook if you want an autograph copy. We'll make it happen in the age of COVID. But if you want the girl book, the autographs, you can just order that right now. I put those in the mail myself, whether you order that book from Amazon or from Auntie Gina. I'm the one that drops the hardcovers in the mail. If you order the boy version, print on demand handles all of that. But we'll figure out a way to get it signed.
Is this you also on Instagram, Auntie Gina Stores? That's you?
Yes, Auntie Gina Story.
Yeah. Okay. I've been doing my research.
Okay. I see on the Blue Table.
I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
I said I see on the Blue Table Talk. You do your research, so you got it all together.
I've been doing my research, girl. So okay. So Gina. So there was someone that I wanted you to meet, but it seems like they can't come on right now. But I don't know what's happening to them. But maybe they get it together. But we're gonna still talk until they try to come in.
Okay.
Okay. So I know earlier you spoke about your who inspired you in writing was one of your teachers. And but that's when we were talking. That's when we were talking. And you said it was I think you said Miss Terry. She's with Marcus now. And so when I used to talk to her a long time ago, she used to always talk about Gina this, Gina McCauley this, and she's so inspiring. And do you know Gina? Yes, I know Gina. So she loved you, Gina. I mean, just love you. So without any ado, I want you to meet this person.
Hi, Gina.
How are you?
Can y'all go mute?
Oh, hold on.
I'm great. I'm still.
Go ahead, Miss Larkin. No mute.
Okay, how's that?
Better.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Gina, I am so excited. I am so excited, but I'm not surprised. And I'm churchy. Amen. I'm excited about what I see God birthing through you and in you, and it's awesome how you're touching people's lives, and it's just a microcosm of who you really are, and that is exciting. Just keep on pushing and keep on shining. That's awesome.
Come back on, Gina. Come back on, Gina.
Okay, I can't hear you, so I'm gonna
Right.
mute my mic.
Mute. We're gonna mute Gina.
Yeah. No. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that you're out here. And I was telling my mama, you were the first person to commission work for me. You asked me to write a Kwanzaa poem for a Kwanzaa celebration, and I wrote it. So yeah.
I can't hear what you're saying, but I love you.
Thank you.
I want to on earlier. I mean now because I knew earlier while we were talking that you had mentioned her. And so I told her just come on for a little while and then let Gina do her shining. And so she came on for you. So that's it with her. I'm gonna take her off. Unmute. Unmute.
I'm just talking. Thank you for doing that. I had seen her for years. I mean, geez, what maybe 30, more than 30. I haven't seen her. So that's awesome to get to see her and hear those words from her and keep going. I want to keep going.
I called her yesterday and I told her that you were gonna be on. I said I told you what you've been doing and everything. And so I said, well, do you mind just come on for a second to talk to say hello to Gina? She said I said because it would be awesome. It'd be like on what's that lady's name that always gives the gifts? I forgot her name. She always said, I have somebody in the back on backstage for you. I can't remember her name. I'll think about it in a minute. But that's who I wanted you to meet.
Oh, thank you for doing that for me. I appreciate that. I do.
We like seeing our older teachers. Most of my teachers are gone, so we like seeing our teachers and and especially when they inspire us.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was what the other teacher was talking about, Miss Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I don't know her, so I couldn't bring her on.
Yeah, I didn't listen to her. I don't even know if she's still in Beaumont now. But yeah, sister, I'm calling sister, but Rebecca Gonzalez, Sister Gonzalez, Miss Gonzalez, what we call her.
Well, let me talk to my viewers. Okay, viewers, look, if you have any questions for Gina, please put them on the web now so that we can ask her the questions because she is a very amazing young lady. She as she told you earlier, she's a lawyer. Plus, she's writing books. So that's just a lot. She's an entrepreneur, and I'm so excited. I knew Gina before Gina knew Gina. And her siblings, and so let's talk to her. And one lady said I need to buy. One lady said I need the boy Auntie Gina. So we're gonna get to it. All you need to do is just go to www.auntiegina.com. Mm-hmm. And so and let's make it happen. So give me some questions to ask Gina. So Gina, so why are you doing that? You said you're getting ready to write your other book on for teen purpose. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, the next book is going to be about Let's Go. Goodbye Paris is my next children's book. So I'm gonna do that before this year. But my project that I've been working on for 2 years is a young adult novel about a teenage Black girl growing up in what is essentially Southeast Texas. And that's probably my bucket list for 2021 to just get it done and get it out to the world. But I'm excited about it. I think people who grew up with me will see a lot of Beaumont in the book. But yeah, novels are a whole other game. They're a whole other game. So I'm excited about that challenge.
So you say you're not going into blogging again. You're not going to go back to
Never
blogging.
say never, 'cause I love to write. I love to write, so I would never say that. But what I would say is what the universe has called me to do right now is to I just feel like I'm in a season of legacy building. And I'm like, what seeds am I going to plant that I want to be left behind? And I think the this part of my life and this part of my writing is a different aspect of who I am. And so I'm excited about planting those seeds and putting those things out into the world. And so children and young adults, because I think it's because I have nieces and nephews now, and I didn't have that when I started blogging. But I have a bunch of them now. So I think that's kind of my way of improving the world that they're going to grow up in. And when I say capture hearts, minds, and imaginations of children, I think that's how we shape the future, is to give them something to dream and give them something to aim for.
I think I saw, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw you when, not saw you, but I saw you on the podcast or just a video when you were reading to your nieces and nephews.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they would. I could hear them in the background. I know. I read that book. I think it's reading the Red Velveteen or something like that. Yeah. It was so funny. I sat back and just laughed myself. I said, listen to them because it was so interesting. Because kids love to be. Some kids love to be read to. Mm-hmm. And if you read to them, that's their knowledge come in, and it start at an early age. And right now I'm working with my great nephew. He's a kindergartner. So I'm working with him. So because of the COVID, and he's not going back to school and everything. So of course they see a teacher passing by, and they saw, oh, hey, Deborah, teacher, hey, Deborah, going to teacher. I said, well, I guess once a teacher, always a teacher, So I'm working with him with his education. So I tell my sister every night, and his mom, to every night read to him 15 minutes. Ask him questions. Who's the character? Who are the characters in the book? Where's the setting taking place? This, all the questions that you need to ask a person when you read a book to them. But how can you, as a writer, make your book so? You have alliteration in that book also, right?
Yeah, I think I do, but it's more of it's repetition.
Okay.
Because and that's why we latch on to a light.
Right. And kids need to know about rhyming. Because when I taught first grade, there were some children who didn't know about rhyming. I'm like, what? What? I mean, coming from home to school, or did not go to kindergarten or whatever, prior to coming to first grade, they didn't know about rhyming. So you have to explain to them about rhyme words. Yeah. So in your book, is there like I know you have the rhyming part of, but is there in the back or somewhere? Okay, can you put that in your book where you can put this word rhyme with this word or this way, or you want the parent to do that?
I don't have that yet. That's called back matter. So I don't have that yet. So basically I'm relying on the parents. But my next book about Paris, it is going to have back matter because it has a lot of French words in it as I introduce them to the sites and things in Paris. So I am going to add back matter to my next book. So yeah.
Because that would not only help the students, but that would help the parents also.
Yeah, and then one of the things, because of where I live in Austin, a lot of the kids who come up to me with their parents, they don't speak English. They speak the first language is Spanish, and so I said, I definitely, if I'm gonna keep doing book events in Austin, I gotta do a Spanish version as well. So I'm growing, I'm evolving, but that's a good suggestion. Reading guides to help the parents. So definitely, I'll add some back matter in the future.
All right, that would be awesome. That would be. I can't wait. I'm gonna order both of the books.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Because I do have a nephew, and then I'm also working with another grade. What grade does that book go to?
I think I said like third grade.
Third grade.
Yeah, but I think that one of the things it does have some adult words in there. But I don't think it's too many. I think it's
so a fourth grader could understand it, right?
Oh yeah, fourth grader would understand it. There's there's a word like triumph that's in there in one of the things. So fourth grader, third grader could say triumph. And then I think there's one that's very old Gina sounding, but but most of it, it starts with like a flame, a flicker, a spark, a glow. They'll get that kind of stuff. But there's a part where it starts to kind of like, I think I started preaching. And I started talking about
that's in your family though.
Yeah, that's what that is. But yeah, even reluctant readers should be able to manage most of the words. There are going to be some words, but that's also you're expanding their vocabulary as well. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm in the bookstore, and you're sitting down autographing books. Sell your book to me.
All right. Oh wow. I'm gonna sell your book. I think that if you're in the bookstore and I see you and you say, why should I buy the book? I think 2020 has been rough for kids. It's been rough for adults.
I was gonna say, don't just not to kids.
Not just kids. It's been rough for adults, but it's also been rough for children. And I think a lot of the times the messages we're hearing and what we're consuming is shaping who we are. And I think every child needs to know that they have self-worth and value that's not dictated by the circumstances. And no matter how dark the situation or what situation they're in, they are still valuable. They're still important. There's still a light in them. And so I think if you're looking for something to teach a child self-love, if you're looking for something to send a message to a child that no matter what happens in life, we will always love you and care about you, and you can always find your way back home if you follow your light. So I think if you're looking for something uplifting and empowering, and something, honestly, I think the words of the book is a keepsake, because they're going to need that book when they go to middle school. They're going to need that message when they go to high school. They're going to need it when they go to college. They're going to need it when they wake up in the morning to go to a job. So it kind of reminds me, and I wrote it so that like 20 years from now, if my nieces and nephews pick it up, they'll feel me in it. They'll feel me in it, telling them you're valuable, you're worthy, you're wonderful, you're perfect. And there's always this light in you, and I don't care what you do or where you go, you're still that baby in a car seat with a sunbeam shining on your face. That didn't change. That was long. I need to get that shorter.
That's okay. There's a writer. I'm sorry. Someone says writing is difficult for a lot of students. What motivated you, and how do you motivate them?
Man, I had something to say. I always had something to say. I think if you're trying to get kids to write, they need to write about things that are relevant and important to them. And I think a lot of times we make writing a chore, writing a chore, but it could be just something really short, like, write a poem about whatever, write something to your mom, write a letter. A lot of kids, if there's a certain type of entertainment that they like, consider teaching them about that specific genre. For instance, if your reluctant writer likes comic books, then maybe, show them videos of comic book writers or teach them about comic book writing. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Video games that a lot of kids play, they have writers. There's people who get paid to write video games. So I would look for things that are relevant to the kids. I had so many. I had so many opportunities to write when I was growing up. We had a school newspaper in the fifth grade. I wrote at church. We had to write like an occasion or a theme. I think it's really important to meet kids where they are. So if they're a reluctant writer, I would ask them questions about what they're excited about, what they're passionate about, and then look for writing prompts about that. If that's what they want to do. If you can write, you can do anything. Like you could always get a job somewhere if you like to write. And if if writing's not their thing, maybe it's art, maybe it's music. There's different ways to tell a story. I just happen to like telling my story with words, but there are some people who will move you with their bodies, with dance. There's some people who are gonna move you with their music and stuff like that. So I think some people, they naturally are writers, but I will say this: I do think you give everybody fundamentals. You teach them subject verb agreement. You know, fundamentals. Everybody's not going to express themselves in writing, and that's okay.
I was a fourth grade writing teacher.
Okay.
So, and fourth grade math teacher, and the fourth grade reading teacher, and the fourth so I taught all subjects. Okay, so but the kids, a lot of kids don't like to write.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell them all the time, if you read and read different stories, it would help you to write. And if you understand, but you have to talk back. You have to tell, because you have to use your adjectives and all kind of stuff to make that story sound so interesting that Gina would like it. So I know that in your book, because I've been knowing you all your life, like I said, and I know how you were when you were you were always like, if you boycotted in the fifth grade, I know you did that. I know you did that, and because you have always been a go getter. You've always been that person that I can do this, and even though somebody else would say, "Oh, I can't do so and so and so," you have been the one who's been up there. And I always admired you, and I don't think I ever told you that, but I've always admired you and the things that you've done. Like I said, I follow your blog because I wanted to know what you was doing, because I've always loved you. And so I applaud you for your work, and I'm thanking God for what you do, because I know that you already have God as your mediator, and so because you were brought up that way. Mm-hmm. And so continue writing, and continue write some more children book, but because they need it. Yeah, they need it, and they need to know that there's a light in them. Yes. They need to know that, boy and girl. Yes. Because if they don't start off knowing that, then later on they're gonna be pushed back, and we don't want that. So I applaud you for that, Gina. I appreciate you. So with that being said, it's almost time for the get off of here. But I want you to continue to tell the audience, tell them to raise your book up, and let them know. Yeah, raise up the book.
I love to say, like,
yeah,
this one is available on AuntieGina.com.
Wait a minute. Go.
This one is available on AuntieGina.com and Amazon. So if you go type in "A Light in You" on Amazon, it should come up. Or if you type in Gina McCauley on Amazon, my author page will come up. And then, of course, we have links on the Auntie Gina Facebook page. And then the boy version of the book is pretty much only available on Amazon right now. Or you can buy it on Walmart.com and places like that. But it's cheapest on Amazon. And this is the boy book. This is some harsh light, but it looks really amazing, actually. But you can buy that on Amazon.com. So if you type in "A Light in You Nephew" edition, because that's what I'm calling the boy book, you can find it on Amazon as well. It's also available on places like Walmart.com because of the distributor as well. But Amazon gives you the best deal.
So can we buy it in Walmart stores?
I don't think you can buy it in the store. You can request it though. You can go to your Walmart store and request that the manager put it on the shelves. But you can buy it on, for sure right now, you can buy it on Walmart.com.
Great job. I appreciate you, Gina, for coming and talk to us tonight. And when I asked you to come on, I was just thrilled with you when you say, "Yeah, I'll do it." I feel like I should go do it.
Of course.
She's come to us. So I appreciate you. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, one writer said, I love it. Thank you for what you do. Oh, great, great, great. So don't forget, tomorrow night will be the debate with the two with Vice President Pence and Kamala Harris. So don't forget to watch that, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Next week, we have our candidates for election and re-elections on for next week. And always know that if I can help somebody as we pass along this way, then I know that my living won't be in vain. I appreciate you guys for coming and joining us tonight with Gina McCauley. And Gina, hold on for a minute. And God bless you. God bless you, and thank you. Smooches.